So let's talk about something every single company has to deal with: pressure. That moment when things get hot. But what happens next? I mean, that's the real question, isn't it? Does that problem get tossed around from person to person like a hot potato, or is it shared like a hot pancake fresh off the griddle? Today, we're diving into the huge difference between the two, and why it pretty much defines whether a business is going to sink or swim.
Oh, does this sound familiar? You've heard this, right? It's that little conversation you catch in the hallway or on a Zoom call. And that right there, that is the sound of friction. It's the sound of a problem just hanging in midair, being passed back and forth. Honestly, it's the sound of a system that's about to get seriously burned.
And that leads us straight into the heart of the issue, what we're calling the hot potato problem. You can tell almost everything you need to know about a company's real health by just watching what happens the second something goes wrong.
See, in a lot of companies, quality isn't really a goal. It's more like a liability. It's that thing nobody wants to own because, well, it's messy, it's political, and it is a total magnet for blame. The moment an issue shows up, the first instinct isn't how do we solve it, it's how do I get this off my plate? And that, my friends, is hot potato quality.
So, what does this actually feel like on a day-to-day basis? Well, the signs are literally everywhere. You feel it in that constantly reactive, defensive posture every team seems to have. You can hear it in what becomes the office soundtrack: who approved this? And that's not a real question, It's not about finding a solution, it's about finding someone to blame. You see it in who gets all the praise: the firefighters, the heroes who swoop in to save the day, while the people trying to prevent the fires in the first place get completely ignored. Audits turn into these self-defense exercises, and those lessons learned meetings, yeah, they produce some beautiful documents that go into a folder on a shared drive that no one ever opens again. It's a culture where people just follow rules they don't even believe in, all to just stay safe.
And here's the sneakiest part of it all. In these cultures, everyone looks incredibly busy. I mean, there are constant meetings, a flurry of emails, escalations. It's just this whirlwind of activity. But this is the big illusion. All of that motion, it isn't progress. Nope. It's just the chaos of teams tossing that potato back and forth, praying it doesn't land on them when the music stops.
But look, it does not have to be this way. Not at all. Let's completely change gears and look at the alternative. Let's see what happens when a company actually gets this right. It's time for a taste of success.
Okay, so imagine this instead. A problem comes up. It's still hot for sure, but it doesn't bounce. It circulates. It almost smells like an opportunity, maybe even like success, and all of a sudden everyone wants a piece of it. That is hot pancake quality. It's not a liability to be dodged. It's a shared challenge that actually brings people together to figure it out.
And when you manage to make that shift, oh man, the results are a total game changer. Suddenly, decisions are getting made with both speed and confidence because the right information is just there. Your customers feel it, they feel that predictability. Your teams feel it too. They spend way less time arguing and a lot more time aligning. Those lessons learned finally stop being dusty reports and they become actual habits changed. And here's the really big one. Leadership stops using quality data to justify what happened in the past and starts using it to actively steer the company into the future.
I mean, when you put these two worlds side by side, the difference is just night and day, right? In a hot potato culture, accountability is a dirty word, something to be avoided at all costs. But in a hot pancake culture, ownership is shared. The potato mindset treats quality like some big, stressful event, like an audit. The pancake mindset, it's just a daily instinct. You go from a system that everybody mistrusts to one they actually rely on. You shift from constant reactive firefighting to proactive alignment. This isn't just some small tweak. It's a complete transformation of how you operate.
Okay, that all sounds amazing, but a transformation that big, it can feel kind of impossible, right? So the most important question is, how do you actually do it? How do you get from a culture of blame and fear to one of shared success? Let's get into the mechanics of how this flip really happens.
This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If your whole organization is just stuck in this endless cycle of passing the potato, how in the world do you introduce the recipe for pancakes?
Well, the first thing you have to understand is how you don't do it. You don't get there with more training seminars or motivational posters with eagles on them, or catchy slogans on the wall. That stuff is all surface level, and it does absolutely nothing to change the underlying mechanics of the business. The real answer, the thing that actually moves the needle, is intentional system design. You have to fundamentally re-engineer how work gets done, how decisions get made, and how information actually flows through your company.
So what are we really talking about here? System design? It kind of boils down to three main goals. First, you have to integrate quality into the work so that it's practical and, this is the most important part, unskippable. Second, you design the system so it actually serves your people. It should make their decisions faster and safer, not harder and more complicated. And third, you have to build this thinking into the very DNA of the company, into every tool, every process, every single deal. So, for example, think about a software team. A hot potato system has a totally separate QA team that finds bugs after all the code is written. A hot pancake system, on the other hand, builds automated quality checks directly into the developer's tools. The code literally can't even be submitted if it fails the key tests. See the difference? Quality stops being the police officer at the end of the road and becomes the guardrails on the road itself.
And listen, this is not just some nice-to-have, fluffy cultural initiative. Making this shift has become an absolute business imperative. Let's talk about why this matters so much right now, more than ever before.
I want you to really let this quote sink in for a second. We're living in a time where speed and complexity are just constantly smashing into each other. But chaotic speed, the kind you get in a hot potato culture, that just leads to burnout, mistakes, and failure. The future? It belongs to the stable accelerators. Those are the organizations that can move fast and scale up without breaking, because quality is just built right into their DNA.
And this right here, this is the ultimate test of your system's design. Is quality a hurdle that your people have to jump over to get work done? Or is it the paved, well-lit path forward? In a really well-designed system, taking shortcuts and bypassing quality should actually feel harder and slower than just doing things the right way from the start. That's when you know. That's when you know you've made the flip from potato to pancake.
So as we start to wrap this up, let's bring it all back home. Let's bring it back to you and to your organization. Because the real test of your culture, the true indicator of your company's health, is what happens when things get hot.
So I'm going to leave you with this one last critical question. Just think about the last time a real crisis hit your team or your company. When the pressure was really on and the heat was rising, did people start looking around for someone to throw the problem to? Or did they pull up a chair, roll up their sleeves, and ask how they could help share the load? The answer to that question? Well, it tells you everything you need to know.